Stop. Before you drag that sad, brown, crispy hydrangea to the compost pile, I need you to look at it one more time. Because what you're calling dead is almost never actually dead. That plant you've already given up on? 9 times out of 10, it's just starving, thirsty, and screaming for help in the only way it knows how, by dropping every leaf and going limp. And here's the part nobody tells you. You don't need to spend a single dollar on expensive bottled fertilizers to bring it roaring back. Everything you need is probably sitting in your kitchen, your fridge, or your backyard right now. In the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through 5 natural fertilizers that work so fast you'll see a difference within days, not months. I'm giving you the exact combinations, the exact amounts, and the exact way to apply them so your hydrangea doesn't just survive, it explodes with new growth and blooms bigger than you've ever seen. Stick with me to the end because the 5th one is the secret weeping gardeners swear by and almost nobody uses it correctly. Let's bring your hydrangea back from the dead. First, is it actually dead? Before you fertilize anything, you have to know whether there's still life inside that plant. Otherwise, you're just feeding a stick. So here's the test. Walk over to your hydrangea, pick one of the main stems, and gently scrape the surface of the bark with your thumbnail. Just a light scrape. If you see green underneath, even the faintest hint of pale green, congratulations, your plant is alive and your work is about to pay off. If the stem snaps dry and brittle with brown all the way through, move down lower toward the base and scratch again. Hydrangeas die from the top down, so the lower stems and the crown near the soil are usually the last to go. As long as you find green somewhere, you're in business. Now here's why your hydrangea collapsed in the first place. It's almost always one of 3 things. It dried out completely during a hot stretch, the soil ran out of nutrients, or the roots got cooked by too much harsh chemical feed. The good news is that all 3 of those problems respond beautifully to gentle, natural feeding. So let's get into it. Number 1, the banana peel potassium bomb. If your hydrangea is alive but refuses to bloom, or the blooms it does push out are small and pathetic, it's almost certainly crying out for potassium. Potassium is the nutrient responsible for flower production and overall plant vigor, and bananas are absolutely loaded with it. But here's where most people get it wrong. They bury a whole banana peel next to the plant and walk away, then wonder why nothing happens for 2 months. A buried peel takes forever to break down, which means the potassium stays locked up and useless to your struggling plant. We don't have time for that. Your hydrangea needs help now. So here's what you do instead. Take 2 or 3 banana peels, chop them roughly, and drop them into a jar or container with about a liter of water. Let that sit for 48 hours. What you're making is a fast-acting banana tea, and within 2 days, that water turns into a potassium-rich liquid that your plant's roots can absorb almost immediately. After 2 days, dilute that banana water with an equal amount of plain water, so 1 part banana tea to 1 part fresh water, and pour it slowly around the base of your hydrangea right over the root zone. Do this once a week, and within about 10 days, you'll start noticing the stems firming up and new buds beginning to form. The potassium goes straight to work strengthening the plant from the inside out. And don't toss those soggy peels afterward. Chop them up fine and work them lightly into the top inch of soil so they keep feeding as they decompose. Nothing wasted. Number 2, used coffee grounds for the nitrogen kickstart. Now, if your hydrangea's problem is more about the leaves, pale, yellowing, sparse foliage that just won't fill out, then nitrogen is what's missing, and used coffee grounds are your answer. I want you to pay close attention here because this is where people accidentally hurt their plants instead of helping them. Fresh coffee grounds are too acidic and too strong to dump directly on a weak plant. You have to use grounds that have already been brewed, and you have to use them correctly. Here's the method. Take your used coffee grounds, about 2 good handfuls for a medium hydrangea, and first let them dry out for a day so they don't clump into a moldy mat. Then, sprinkle them in a thin, even layer across the soil around the base of the plant, keeping them a couple of inches away from the main stems so you don't burn the crown. After you sprinkle them, scratch them gently into the top layer of soil with your fingers or a small fork, and then water thoroughly. The coffee grounds slowly release nitrogen as they break down, and they do something else wonderful. They improve the texture of your soil and attract earthworms, which aerate the roots and help everything absorb better. For a hydrangea that's been sitting in tired, compacted dirt, that's a game changer. And here's a bonus most people don't realize. Coffee grounds gently nudge your soil toward the acidic side, and for blue hydrangeas, acidic soil is exactly what keeps those blooms vivid blue instead of fading to muddy purple. So you're feeding and color correcting at the same time. Apply this every 2 weeks, not more, because too much nitrogen will give you a bush full of leaves and no flowers. Number 3, the Eggshell and Epsom Salt Reviver. This one is the combination I get the most questions about, and it's the one that genuinely brings stressed hydrangeas back to life faster than almost anything else. We're combining 2 kitchen leftovers to solve 2 problems at once. First, the eggshells. Eggshells are nearly pure calcium, and calcium is what builds strong cell walls in your plant. A hydrangea that's been through drought stress or root shock often has weak, floppy stems because it's calcium deficient. So save up about 5 or 6 eggshells, rinse them, let them dry completely, and then crush them as finely as you possibly can. The finer you crush them, the faster the calcium becomes available. Big, chunky pieces take ages to break down, so really grind them down to almost a powder if you can. Now for the Epsom salt. Epsom salt is magnesium sulfate, and magnesium is the central building block of chlorophyll. It's literally what makes leaves green and able to photosynthesize. A magnesium-starved hydrangea shows yellowing between the leaf veins while the veins themselves stay green. If that sounds like your plant, this is the fix. Here's how you bring them together. Dissolve 1 tablespoon of Epsom salt into about a liter of water and stir until it's fully dissolved. Sprinkle your crushed eggshell powder around the base of the plant first, work it lightly into the soil, and then pour the Epsom salt solution right over the top. The water carries the magnesium straight down to the roots, while the eggshells slowly release calcium over the following weeks. Do this once a month, and I mean once a month. No more, because Epsom salt is potent, and overusing it throws your soil out of balance. But that single monthly treatment will green up the leaves and stiffen up the stems in a way that genuinely looks like the plant came back from the dead. Number 4, rice water. This is the one that's going to make you a little angry because you've almost certainly been throwing it away your entire life. Every single time you rinse or cook rice, that cloudy, starchy water you drain off is packed with nutrients your hydrangea is desperate for. That milky water carries traces of nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and a load of beneficial starches that feed the microorganisms living in your soil. And it's those microorganisms, the invisible bacteria and fungi around the roots, that actually do the work of converting nutrients into a form your plant can drink up. Feed the soil life, and the soil life feeds your hydrangea. That's the whole secret. Here's exactly how to do it right. When you wash your rice before cooking, don't pour that first rinse water down the sink. Collect it in a bowl. If you want to supercharge it, let it sit and ferment at room temperature for about a day, which multiplies those beneficial microbes. But even fresh, unfermented rice water works wonderfully. One important warning: if you're using the water you cooked rice in rather than the rinse water, make absolutely sure it's completely cooled and that you didn't add any salt. Salt is poison to your hydrangea's roots, so this only works with plain, unsalted rice water. Pour it around the base of the plant about once a week in place of a normal watering. Within a couple of weeks, you'll notice the soil looking richer and darker, the plant perking up, and new shoots pushing out. It costs you absolutely nothing, and it's one of the gentlest, most reliable revivers there is, perfect for a plant too weak to handle anything stronger. Number 5, wood ash. Used the right way. Here it is, the 5th one, and the reason I told you to stick around. Wood ash, the soft gray powder left over after burning clean, untreated wood, is one of the most powerful natural fertilizers on the planet, and almost everybody either ignores it completely or uses it so carelessly that they kill their plant. I'm going to show you how to do it right. Wood ash is extraordinarily rich in potassium and calcium, plus a spread of trace minerals like phosphorus and magnesium. For a hydrangea that needs a serious, fast jolt of blooming power, nothing in your backyard comes close. A small dose can wake up a tired plant and trigger a flush of buds almost overnight. But, and this is enormous, wood ash is strongly alkaline. It raises your soil's pH fast. That makes it a brilliant tool, but a dangerous one if you're careless. And it's the reason this is the secret almost nobody uses correctly. You must use it in tiny amounts, and you must understand what it does to your flower color. Here's the right way. Take just a single tablespoon of cooled wood ash for a medium hydrangea. Sprinkle it thinly and evenly across the soil around the plant. Never pile it in one spot, never let it touch the stems directly, and then water it in gently so it dissolves into the root zone. Do this no more than once a month, and honestly, once at the start of the growing season is often plenty. Now here's the critical color note. Because wood ash makes soil alkaline, it will push pink hydrangeas to a more vivid pink. Fantastic if that's what you want. But if you have a blue hydrangea, wood ash will fade that blue toward pink or muddy purple, because blue blooms need acidic soil. So if blue is your goal, skip the ash entirely and lean on your coffee grounds and banana tea instead. Match the tool to the plant and you'll get exactly the color you're after, along with the revival. Used with respect, a pinch of wood ash is the closest thing to a miracle fertilizer you'll find for free. Putting it all together. Now don't go dumping all 5 of these on your poor plant at once. That would overwhelm it and do more harm than good. A revival is about steady, gentle feeding, not a single dramatic rescue. So here's how I'd structure it. Start the very first week with rice water and banana tea, because those two are the gentlest and they get the roots drinking and the soil microbes waking up. Give it a week. In the second week, bring in the coffee grounds for that nitrogen push to fill out the leaves. Around the start of the next month, do your eggshell and Epsom salt treatment to strengthen the stems and green up the foliage. And reserve the wood ash for a single careful application right when you want to trigger that big flush of blooms, keeping in mind the color rules I just gave you. Throughout all of this, the one thing you can't neglect is consistent, deep watering. The best fertilizer in the world can't travel through bone-dry soil. Water deeply at the base. Let the top inch dry out between waterings and keep that plant out of harsh afternoon sun while it recovers. Within 3 to 4 weeks of following this rhythm, that hydrangea you were ready to throw out will be pushing fresh green growth, and not long after, it'll reward you with blooms. So there you have it. 5 completely natural fertilizers all sitting in your kitchen right now that can pull a hydrangea back from what looks like certain death. Banana tea for blooms, coffee grounds for leaves, eggshells and Epsom salt for strength and green, rice water to feed the soil itself, and a careful pinch of wood ash as your secret weapon. I want you to actually go do this. Walk outside today, do the scratch test on that dead hydrangea, and start with the rice water and banana tea this week. Then come back and tell me in the comments which one worked the fastest for you. If this helped you see your garden a little differently, do me one quick favor and hit that like and subscribe button so the channel can reach more hydrangea lovers. Now, go save that plant. It's not dead yet, and neither is your garden. I'll see you in the next one.